Health shock lands Hawthorn coach Sam Mitchell in a New York hospital. The latest live. Victoria's storms turn deadly as wild weather leaves holidaymakers in limbo across Australia's east coast. Melbourne's big wet hits cricket fans for 6, but not before Shane Warne's children launch a life-saving crusade. Chilling new footage of an ambush shooting in Melbourne's north. A 16-year-old girl accused of freeway madness on the Monash. The Victorian town left with no clean drinking water for days. And Melbourne shoppers embark on a $1 billion Boxing Day splurge.
Live from Melbourne, 7 News with Mike Amor starts now.
Good evening. Hawthorn coach Sam Mitchell is in a New York hospital tonight after being struck down with a serious bout of pneumonia. Chief football reporter Mitch Cleary has the latest on his condition. Mitch, he's facing a serious health crisis.
Mike, it's been a distressing 72 hours for Mitchell and his young family. The Hawks coach spending the last 3 nights in the New York University Hospital after his health rapidly deteriorated. Now, Hawks players were this afternoon informed of the latest around their coach's condition, which is improving, but it's thrown the Christmas holiday plans for Mitchell, his wife Lyndall and their 3 kids into chaos. In a statement, Hawks CEO Ash Klein telling 7 News, importantly, Sam is improving and recovering well. The club has been in regular contact with Lyndall, and we will obviously continue to provide support in any way we can. The club also expressing their thanks to the hospital staff for their care for Mitchell and his family. Mitchell is expected to spend at least the next several nights in hospital as he continues to recover, hopefully doing so enough to return back here to Australia. The Hawks resume pre-season training here at the Hawks in just under a fortnight's time. Mike?
Mitch, thank you. Mitch Cleary. Victoria's summer storms have turned deadly with a falling tree crushing a camper in Gippsland. Wild weather is hammering holidaymakers across Australia's east coast, including Queensland, where theme parks were forced to close.
A Boxing Day deluge putting Gippsland streets underwater.
Look at the servo!
And causing the earth to open up in a surprise sinkhole.
Bloody hell. That is huge.
A man was killed in a camping trip tragedy hit by a falling tree at Coringal near Mount Borbor. Further south, residents were warned to be on high alert as flash flooding lashed the region. Welshpool hit hard.
Really careful.
Key roads in the region were closed to traffic. East Sale endured 75 millimetres of rain between 5 and 8 a.m, Ballook just over 53 millimetres. In Melbourne, a water leak interrupted Boxing Day shopping at Mernda and caused trouble for traffic on the Monash.
As we've gone into Boxing Day, we've seen smaller pockets of severe thunderstorm activity bring areas of very heavy rain.
The power of yesterday's storms was clear in the Goulburn Valley. This partially built home in Kyalla destroyed.
Nothing really left. It's just wood sitting on the slab, on the concrete.
Southeast Queensland has also been hit hard. A Christmas night light show growing into a deadly storm. A woman there was also killed by a falling tree. Victorians holidaying on the Gold Coast were caught up in the chaos as roofs were ripped from homes and power lines downed. More than 120,000 people left without electricity.
It was like a Category 1 cyclone, really. It was the winds were ferocious.
A high-rise crane was dangling at Burleigh Heads, while Movie World, Dreamworld and Wet n Wild were all forced to close for the clean-up. Ainsley Kosh, 7 News.
Melbourne's big wet caused chaos for cricket fans at the Boxing Day test, with rain ruining the afternoon session. But it didn't stop Shane Warne's children from launching a life-saving crusade.
Fans were forced to run for cover as summer rain halted the Boxing Day action.
It's rain, it's not about light.
They were warned about Melbourne's unpredictable weather. Many headed for the bars. Others waited in hope.
Just waiting for the cricket to come back on.
The gloomy forecast didn't stop more than 61,000 fans flooding in. before the post-Christmas cricket tradition.
Give us a prediction for the day.
Rain at about 12 o'clock and then on the beers.
Today's crowd more than the entire 4 days of the first test in Perth.
I've come over from London to visit my son, so hopefully I've come over to see a bit of warm weather and stuff, but a bit of English weather, isn't it?
Shane Warne's life-saving legacy began. 23 heart and health check devices stationed all around the ground. His 3 children encouraging thousands to take the 4-minute test.
Definitely will save lives. This will just, if there's anything that you're at risk inside of your body, this will pop up.
Yeah, I've had a couple of heart attacks, so just a daily check's a good thing.
How did you go? What did it tell you?
I'm still standing upright anyway.
There were some questionable fashion statements off-field. But as play got underway, Usman Khawaja let his bat do the talking.
And controlled by Khawaja for 4.
The Aussie opener adhering to the ICC's ban on political statements, opting instead for the names of his 2 daughters on his shoes.
The thing that has really been shone a light upon is just the need for consistency.
This is who he is. He's very passionate in his beliefs and his morals and his values, and I'm quite proud of him actually. I mean, I don't think he's trying to be divisive.
Pakistan's decision to bowl and the gloomy day 1 weather, 2 ingredients to make this test go the distance.
And Theo Doropoulos is inside the MCG. Theo, play will begin early tomorrow.
Mike, it'll be a 10 a.m. start on days 2, 3 and 4. That's after a couple of hours were lost to rain today. Conditions for the next few days, though, no real problems as the Aussies look to build on what's certainly a very strong platform laid today on day 1. We'll have all the highlights from an intriguing battle between Australia and Pakistan. That's coming up a little later in Sport, Mike.
OK, Theo, thank you. Chilling new security vision shows the moment 2 masked men targeted a home in Fawkner on Saturday night. One of the men knocked at the door before opening fire. The parents of notorious crime figure Mohammed Sharif and a child were inside at the time, but no one was injured in the attack. A 16-year-old girl has been arrested after a wild crash on the Monash freeway. Police say she was speeding in a stolen BMW when she lost control.
The stolen BMW is in the fast lane, coming in hot, but a sudden swerve ends badly. Hard impact with barriers. Another motorist cops it too. Their Christmas Day brought to a smashing stop near Fountain Gate Shopping Centre on the M1. Police believe the BMW's sole occupant, a 16-year-old girl, ran from the crash and got into another stolen car. She was later arrested in Pakenham. 2 of the 5 inside the Ford were taken to hospital. Today, a fatal outcome in Coldstream when a car and food truck travelling in the same direction collided around 1:15. A female car passenger died. Its driver and another passenger were taken to hospital. And there were 2 deaths yesterday from crashes on Victorian roads. A 77-year-old male motorcyclist in Euroa after a crash with another bike. Near Wodonga, a 56-year-old driver whose car hit a tree. And an alarming incident near Horsham yesterday afternoon. Police say a 30-year-old driver from South Australia blew almost 5 times the legal limit. He's expected to face charges including speeding and driving an unregistered car. His licence was immediately suspended and his Honda Civic impounded. Victoria is heading towards its worst road toll in 15 years. Now, 295 dead. This time last year, 238. The biggest increases are women victims and passengers. Paul Dowsley, 7 News.
Melbourne motorists are being warned to brace for traffic trouble over the holiday period. Kate Massey has the details. Kate, major roadworks are about to begin on the West Gate.
Mike, 3 out of 5 city-bound lanes will be closed here over the next 10 days. Now, roadworks will begin around 9 o'clock tonight and finish on the 4th of January. It will be reduced to just 2 lanes. And the Department of Transport says that it picks this time of the year because it is the least busy period on the bridge. It is due to annual maintenance. Still, delays of up to 30 minutes are expected. These roadworks caused traffic chaos here last year when only 1 lane was open. Some drivers were forced stuck here for 3 hours. More shutdowns are also planned for the West Gate Tunnel from mid-January until the end of March. The advice is if you want to avoid the traffic, avoid the area this holiday season and check the public transport schedule. Mike.
Kate, thank you. An entire town in the state's north is facing days without clean drinking water after a major contamination scare. Emergency supplies are being shipped in to help Elmore locals as health authorities scramble to work out what went wrong.
An entire Victorian town ordered not to drink the tap water. The cause, an alarm fault, sparking an automatic shutdown of Elmore's water treatment plant.
I suppose everybody else is in the same boat. There was a huge storms, outages, power outages, and unfortunately the water treatment plant did have an alarm where it shut down.
474 homes and businesses told to turn off the taps. The contamination risk is caused by a loss of pressure in the pipes. The warning means no drinking tap water, no brushing teeth and no washing food.
Not a very good time to happen on Christmas Day.
The region's water authority is now trucking clean water in from Rochester and Bendigo. Thirsty Elmore locals taking it up by the bucket load, but there was some confusion.
Just as to whether you were allowed to have showers, do dishes and so forth.
We feel terrible that there was an interruption of water supply for the people of Elmore yesterday. We know that people were probably just getting organised for Christmas lunch.
I was washing my tack dish and that's when the water cut out.
Locals are facing days of restrictions, with the authorities implementing a strict testing regime to ensure that the water is safe to drink. In the meantime, there'll be bottled water available here at a makeshift hub in town. Anyone concerned they may have accidentally consumed contaminated water are being told to see their GP. Jacqueline Stanley, 7 News.
Newly released convicted terrorist Abdul Benbrika is living under the same roof as his son, who's now facing serious weapon charges himself. 23-year-old Ibrahim Benbrika was caught by authorities trying to take a replica pistol onto a plane at Melbourne Airport in January. Abdul Benbrika was released last week after spending nearly 2 decades behind bars. Australians have splurged more than $1 billion on Boxing Day sales, snapping up bargains to beat rising living costs. Retailers say shoppers are treating themselves one last time before tightening belts in the new year.
For Melbourne's biggest bargain hunters, early starts are a Boxing Day tradition.
I've been coming since 1992 and I've never missed. I arrange my holidays around leaving the next day.
But this year, a schedule change on Bourke Street caught many off guard. David Jones didn't open until 7:30.
We didn't realise that the times changed, so we got here at 4:30.
The civilised queues were longer than last year, but a far cry from the thousands that used to battle it out to be first through the doors.
There were the giveaways and things like that, and it got very messy.
Still, Victorians are expected to buy up big, spending $6.1 billion between now and January 15, a 1.9% increase on last year.
A little bit higher in the sales expectation, which is great news for retailers because it gives us some optimism heading into next year around sales momentum.
Department stores are predicted to drive the greatest growth, up almost 5%, followed by clothing and food.
We're trying to get her this really nice jacket. Yeah, so that's the goal.
Rising living costs prompting people to stock up on essentials and save.
Certainly Boxing Day is a time when they're looking to buy things for themselves, for their household, whereas previous sales events have been for Christmas shopping.
At Chadstone and High Point, many stores opted for a one-in, one-out policy to control the growing crowds.
It's pretty long, but we'll wait.
Those who didn't get up early confronted with traffic jams and packed out parking lots as punishment.
The sales don't end today. For many stores, discounts continue to mid-January, giving shoppers plenty of time to do their research and grab all the essentials for the new year.
We should see some discounting and increased discounting during the next week.
Bethan Yeoman, 7 News.
The King and Queen have led the royal family at their traditional Christmas Day church service with a surprise addition at the table. Sarah Ferguson, the Duchess of York, was back for the first time in decades. as the youngest royals got a taste of duties ahead.
Following in decades of tradition, a jovial king and queen at Sandringham St Mary Magdalene Church, leading the royal family and a few old friends. Sarah, the Duchess of York, who still lives with ex-husband Prince Andrew, joining the Duke and their daughters for Christmas for the first time in 30 years. The Duchess overcame breast cancer earlier this year, the former royal in festive green, along with the Duchess of Edinburgh and 8-year-old Princess Charlotte. Prince Louis has graduated from royal shorts to tartan trousers. Santa must have been kind to some. The warmest Christmas day in the UK in 7 years meant the wait for royal fans was comfortable and worth it. The younger members of the family happy to play their part. Timed for Christmas, the Prince and Princess of Wales releasing this photo of their children, relaxed and growing up fast. Harry and Meghan remained in the US for Christmas, but there is perhaps now little doubt if you leave the firm, you can return. In London, Hugh Whitfield, 7 News.
Sydney Hobart crews have been battered with thunder, lightning and rain during a frantic start to the Great Race. The yachts are now tracking south with more wild weather in store.
Skies clearing for a classic start to the 78th Sydney Hobart.
Those jitters are really coming on.
Like the starting gun a minute early.
Dick got a bit nervous, I'd say.
Full of confidence, Law Connect and Scallywag surge first out of the pack.
Law Connect, he was first out last year. Can he repeat this year?
Over 100 yachts, crews straining.
Every second counts in this race.
Race favourite Andrew Comanche cracking on.
It's all on, we'll put the pressure on Law Connect.
First round the marker.
Yes, nice lead by Law Connect, so the Eastern Shore paid.
Then the anything can happen happened. Law Connect with sail trouble.
Hetzels are flapping there, they can't shoot the smaller one in.
While a few metres back, Andu and Scallywag almost came to blows.
Won't take any prisoners here.
Then more drama.
Law Connect, what's she doing?
That quickly became clear.
It's like the furling line failed.
Thrills galore.
Oh, that's close, Whitty, that's close.
Tacking within a whisker of its rival, Scallywag found trouble.
Protest! Protest they're calling, tacking too close.
But nothing could diminish the majesty of this fleet.
One of the great sights in Australian sport.
Once clear of the harbour, it was game on.
So nerves are jingling and jangling out there.
This is unbelievable.
Especially moments like this.
Judgment.
Precision.
Taking on any big challenge involves a lot of preparation, and these competitors have done all they can to get themselves and their crews ready. But in the end of the day, the winner could be decided by the weather, and if the forecast is accurate, they'll be in for a wild ride.
We've seen it all before, we've seen cyclone whirlies.
With the Bureau tipping strong winds, thunderstorms, even hail, the race record, 33 hours, will be hard to beat.
We would say it's a little more than a glimmer of hope.
Tracked by Seven's cameras until our crew jumped overboard at Bondi.
That's what you call a good girl's day out right there.
Annie Puller, 7 News.
It's one way to get off a yacht, I guess. Andrew McCormack is here with a look ahead to sport. Macca, the bad weather wasn't the only thing halting Australia's momentum.
Mike, Pakistan's bowlers are making life a bit difficult at the MCG, but their fielding has left a bit to be desired. This life allowing David Warner to go past one of our greatest ever, we'll explain shortly. And from Taylor Swift to some Christmas canines, the NFL gets into the festive spirit. But it wasn't a very Merry Christmas for LeBron James, Mike. I'll explain why shortly.
OK, look forward to hearing about it. Thanks, Macca. Australia's airline wars are taking off, with Qantas and Virgin offering bargain flights from just $49. Details next on 7 News. Also ahead, a hero neighbour saves 3 generations of the same family from a fire emergency in Melbourne's northwest. A shark attack victim reveals how he escaped the jaws of death. 90 million reasons to snap up an Oz Lotto ticket for tonight's mega jackpot.
And more showers expected tomorrow for the second day of the test before the wet weather clears. I'll have the details later in the bulletin.
A Christmas Day barbecue is believed to have sparked an inferno in Melbourne's northwest. 3 generations of one family fled their burning home with the help of neighbours.
Christmas Day despair. Firefighters scrambled to take over from locals responding to a house fire at Keilor Lodge.
Within the space of maybe 4 to 5 minutes, it was done. It was completely uncontrollable.
Homeowner Deirdre Sleeman had been inside with 2 of her adult daughters and her 14-month-old grandson.
I was just freaking out because then I could see the travelling from the garage to the roof of the house, and it was all in flames.
Steve and Michelle Chachik were among those who rushed to help.
I jumped out of the car and just sort of went to the front door just to make sure everyone was out.
Leading the family to safety as flames spread through the home.
You could just slowly see the rest of the house light up.
Much of the house has been gutted, but the family Christmas tree is still standing. A cruel twist because the cause of the fire is believed to be a hot coal barbecue put in the garage to cool down after Christmas lunch. The front of a car parked near the garage is a blistered mess. The toddler's cot in ruins, but the possessions lost are in contrast to new bonds forged with strangers.
Oh, thank you. That's all right. Just want to make...
For several agonising minutes, the residents and neighbours were unable to get through to 000 as the fire spread from one end of the house to the other. The emergency number was clogged with a high volume of calls, partly due to the storms in southeast Queensland.
Telstra, which directs emergency calls, has confirmed it took more than 3 minutes to respond to one caller. The 000 service denies there were any delays at its end. Cold comfort for a family without a home.
And that's been our family home for the last 26 years, so that's the hardest part.
Cameron Bowe, 7 News.
A teenager has been attacked by a shark while surfing with friends off the coast of New South Wales. The 16-year-old felt something grab his leg and says his surfboard saved his life.
I just felt something really strong just like grab onto me. I was like, what was that? And I just see it, just see how big it is, see a massive fin and just start freaking out.
A second bite victim also lived to tell the tale in Perth. The 46-year-old was windsurfing when he fell into the shark's jaws. He's got 24 teeth marks on his ankle as a reminder of the close call. One lucky Australian could soon find themselves $90 million richer after tonight's Oz Lotto draw. It's the second biggest jackpot in the game's Australian history.
And we expect up to about a third of Australian adults to have a ticket in their hands before the draw closes tonight.
The prize has skyrocketed with no Division 1 winners in the last 9 draws. Entries close at 7:30 tonight. That's a couple of minutes away, so you better be quick. Aussie Airlines are competing to win back customers after a nightmare period of sky-high fares, cancellations and lengthy airport delays. Amber Laidler explains.
Well, it isn't a bad time to consider booking your next holiday. On the budget end of the market, Jetstar has launched a 48-hour flash sale. Deals on 85 domestic and international routes are available now for select dates, including Melbourne to Sydney from just $76, Perth to the Gold Coast $215, while an escape from Brisbane to Bali costs $295. Virgin Australia has 500,000 tickets on sale until midnight December 29, saving travellers 30% off normal prices. Sydney to Byron Bay starts at just $49, Melbourne to the Red Centre $139, with bookings from Adelaide to Hobart $85. The Flying Kangaroo is also joining in on the price war with a 3-day sale, offering Brisbane to Melbourne for $175. $309 will take you from Sydney to Perth, though experts do say it's important to check baggage limits, seating options and cancellation policies before you book.
Amber, thank you. Mariah Carey's smash hit song, All I Want for Christmas Is You, has broken the all-time record for the most Spotify streams in a single day. The holiday hit was released 30 years ago. This year, it was listened to more than 23 million times on Christmas Eve alone. TikTok is in the firing line over a new mass privacy breach. Up next on 7 News, how the Chinese-owned social media giant is secretly harvesting your information. Also ahead, low-life crooks accused of stealing thousands of dollars worth of equipment from the CFA in Melbourne southwest. A fast-moving fireball destroys a sports stadium in just minutes. And from Vancouver to the Vatican, see how the world celebrated Christmas. Cruel thieves have stolen thousands of dollars worth of firefighting equipment from the CFA in Melbourne's west. They struck on Christmas Eve while volunteers were out helping the community.
In the middle of a public reserve in Werribee, the lowest of low acts. Thieves robbing a shed belonging to the CFA on Christmas Eve.
Very gut-wrenching for it to be taken, especially around Christmas time. A specific firefighting competition equipment, it would be no use to anyone else.
Among the items stolen, firefighting tools and marshalling gear also used to train new recruits. The haul worth more than $15,000 paid for by community donations.
A lot of gear here, what we primarily use. 6 hydrants and whatnot, and that's where the bulk of the costs are going to come from.
Volunteers were out doing a community lolly run when the thieves made their move.
It's very frustrating for ourselves at Werribee, but also our local brigades out at Truganina, Hoppers Crossing and Wyndham who also use this facility for their training.
This morning, detectives dusted for fingerprints. Some of the equipment was handmade by members and is irreplaceable.
Other brigades have already started chipping in, offering replacement equipment so volunteers can perform in the games next month.
We've got equipment coming from as far as Swan Hill and locally to make sure our kids and our running teams get back on the track as soon as they can.
Volunteers are pleading with the crooks to return their gear.
So our kids can train and can compete this summer.
Kathleen O'Connor, 7 News.
TikTok is facing a new privacy storm, accused of secretly accessing the personal details of hundreds of thousands of Victorians. It's the latest in a growing line of concerns about the popular Chinese-owned social media platform.
It's a shock revelation. Millions of Australians being spied on by TikTok, even if they don't have a TikTok account.
Well, my advice used to be delete TikTok, and that would provide you some protection, but that doesn't even provide you protection anymore because they're spying on Australians who don't use TikTok at all.
It's because of tracking software called Pixels, used by tech giants like Facebook and Google to track internet users. They usually ask for consent and warn that your information is being used, typically for advertising. But it seems Chinese-owned TikTok does not ask, but secretly collects data, enabling it to create personal profiles, email addresses, mobile numbers, browsing history, anything you've bought online.
It's highly likely that Australians who've never downloaded or viewed TikTok in their lives, might not have even heard of TikTok, have had their personal information harvested by this company.
Mental health organisation Beyond Blue has apologised to anyone who's concerned. When this issue was brought to our attention, we decided to remove these tools, called Pixels, from our website while we review our privacy policy. But exactly how many Australian companies are allowing TikTok to spy on all users just isn't clear. So the opposition is calling on the Office of the Australian Information Commissioner to properly investigate TikTok.
And if they don't act, then I think it reflects very badly on the Albanese government.
We asked TikTok for comment. So far, no reply. Evan Batten, 7 News.
Israeli Prime Minister Benjamin Netanyahu has been heckled by the families of hostages taken captive by Hamas. They began chanting in Parliament as he promised to bring the hostages home, admitting it will take more time. A fireball has erupted at a sports complex in northern France, destroying it within minutes. 2 firefighters were injured trying to extinguish the blaze, which spread across more than 1,000 square metres. Christmas around the world is being celebrated a little differently this year. Ukrainians broke away from Russian tradition. Festivities fell silent in the Middle East, while Pope Francis paid special tribute to innocent lives lost.
Last night, for the first time, the sound of Christmas was heard by all Ukrainians. It's usually celebrated in January, a Russian Orthodox tradition, but the Ukrainian president changed it this year.
We mark Christmas all together on the same date, as one big family, as one nation, as one united country.
He says evil will be defeated and prayed for victory as his country faces a protracted conflict. Christmas in the Holy Land also looked different. In Bethlehem on the West Bank, the birthplace of Jesus Christ, celebrations were scaled back because of the war. There was no Christmas tree, baby Jesus was missing from church, and the traditional nativity scene was installed amongst rubble and razor. Christians in Gaza braved the bombardment, attending a quick mass to pray for all those suffering.
Per la pace in Palestina e in Israele.
Pray for Palestine and Israel, the Pope tells the world in his Christmas message from the balcony at St. Peter's Basilica.
How many innocents are being slaughtered in our world? Childhoods devastated by war. They are the little Jesuses of today.
There was a real white Christmas in the United States. A blizzard blanketed parts of the Midwest. Snow too in China, where the country's 50 million Christians prayed for better times ahead. Jennifer Beshwati, 7 News.
9 in 10 Victorians are in holiday mode and business is booming for the cruise industry. Up next, the hottest travel destinations revealed. Also ahead on 7 News, a Melbourne dad's life-saving mission to America. The super nuts helping reduce the risk of heart attacks and strokes. And hot cross buns hit the shelves as the countdown to Easter begins. Scientists are suggesting swapping meat for a handful of nuts to help prevent heart attacks and stroke. German researchers have discovered that people who replaced 50 grams of processed meat in their diet each day with 25 grams of nuts reduced their risk of developing cardiovascular disease. Cashews, walnuts and Brazil nuts were among the healthiest options. A Melbourne father told he'd be unlikely to survive to Christmas is receiving life-saving treatment in America. The 49-year-old was forced to travel to the other side of the world because the therapy he needs isn't available here.
For the past 6 weeks, this has been Jeff Nyson's routine. Weekly treatment inside Seattle's Fred Hutch Cancer Centre, 13,000 kilometres from his home and children in Victoria.
It's our first Christmas away from my kids, which, they're only 15 and 18, so that's hard.
Earlier this year, the 49-year-old was told he wouldn't make it to Christmas without life-saving treatment he could only access in America.
We are taking all of my T cells.
CAR T-cell therapy removes blood cells and alters them in a lab to destroy cancer cells.
He's got a 97% chance of responding, and he's got an extremely good chance of the disease remaining in remission for at least 3 to 5 years, and some patients are potentially cured.
But getting here has been a battle. Jeff's rare form of multiple myeloma excludes him from clinical trials at home. After repeated rejections, the federal government agreed to fund his overseas treatment. CAR T-cell therapy is under review in Australia, already approved in the US, Canada and the UK.
Chemotherapy is becoming a fossil fuel, and all of these new immunotherapy drugs are the renewables of the future.
We need to save lives, myeloma patients' lives, so that people like me can live better.
Next month will be Jeff's toughest, when the modified cells are transferred back into his bloodstream, replacing his immune system. In an ideal world, those cells will start attacking the cancer.
So that I can see my daughter get married, so that I can see my son, into his later years.
In Seattle, Jacqueline Robson, 7 News.
New Australian travel trends and the hottest holiday destinations have just been revealed. The tourism sector is roaring back to life, buoyed by a record cruising season and thousands of new accommodation offerings.
From a staycation to a trip interstate or overseas, 9 in 10 Australians are planning a holiday in 2024, and almost 3/4 are planning to get away at least twice.
We're ready. We've got an additional 20,000 hotel rooms around the country since the pandemic.
Despite cost pressures, travellers plan to spend the same or even more on their next holiday.
The figure that was quoted there is $8,000 to $10,000 as that travel budget that they're assigning to what they're going to spend on their leisure or recreational travel in 2024.
We're now seeing more being spent on travel and the visitor economy in most of our states and territories, more than what it was pre-pandemic.
Luxury Escapes has revealed its top-selling deals from the past decade. The Hilton Surfers Paradise Hotel and Residence came in at number 1. Bali is the second most popular and the number 1 international destination. Beach holidays dominate the list, with Phuket in at number 3, followed by the Pullman Maldives and Dubai. The Big Apple made the list, with the Grand Hyatt also a travel favourite. A Virgin cruise along the Great Barrier Reef was the only holiday of its kind on the list. It's the cruise line that now calls Melbourne home. The company's Australia base is at Station Pier, just in time for a record summer, with 1.1 million people cruising between October and April. But it's P&O that's been a favourite in the past 12 months, with more than 500,000 people setting foot on board.
I think people see travel today as more an essential.
Hope Wilson, 7 News.
Supermarket giants are stocking their shelves with hot cross buns, with Easter still more than 3 months away. Coles will donate 20 cents from every home brand pack sold over the next week to the Red Kite Foundation. The charity supports young cancer patients. Sport now with Andrew McCormack and Macca. The Aussies have been trying to weather the storm at the MCG.
Mike, it's been tough going this afternoon. After an early fumble in the field, Pakistan sure made life difficult for the Aussies, and in more ways than one. Plus, the Melbourne Stars fight for their Big Bash season in the Harbour City. LeBron James falls hard, sending a scare through the NBA, and the chief cheerleader, feeling festive, has some corgis getting to the Christmas spirit. Welcome back. It's been a day of frustration for Australia's batters, who didn't have it all their own way in the Boxing Day test against Pakistan. Usman Khawaja and David Warner couldn't capitalise on solid starts. The Aussies 3 for 187 at stumps after a rain-affected day. A blank Boxing Day canvas on a grey, humid Melbourne morning. Fast bowlers past and present keen to get their hands on the new ball.
We'll have a bowl first. We're going to have a bowl as well.
David Warner's final innings on Boxing Day. It should have been a short one.
Edge, and it has gone down.
That's as easy as a catch as you'll ever see in Test cricket. And
the veteran left-hander happily accepted Abdullah Shafiq's gift. Warner passing Steve Waugh, now only second behind Ricky Ponting for international runs scored by an Australian. For Pakistan throwing, not much better than their catching. Usman Khawaja has faced more deliveries than the entire South African team in 2023.
That's a lovely shot.
Pigeons, not doves, causing issues.
Oh, wow.
The unflappable Warner continued to evade the tourists until the final over before lunch. Warner gone for 38, but 1 for 90, and the opening session went to the Aussies. Pakistan fighting back.
There's another one!
Hassan Ali celebrated accordingly. Dark clouds made for a delicate balance for umpires. The MCG lights taking over as rain forced the ground staff into action. Bay 13 found their own entertainment. Almost 3 hours later, the battle resumed amid the fierce contest between bat and ball, a common enemy.
All got involved with the pigeons.
A life for Smith, albeit a tough one for Babar Azam's outstretched right hand. The Pakistan quicks creating chances.
Big shot given!
Smith wasn't convinced. Vindication from Hawkeye, only to be sent packing by DRS just minutes later with the finest of edges.
It hardly moves the needle, but it's going to be enough.
9 test innings and counting without 100. A rough welcome for Australia's World Cup hero.
That's a dangerous ball.
Unintentional but painful nonetheless. Travis Head and Labuschagne unbeaten at stumps. So to dissect today's play, Theo Doropoulos is inside the MCG with Sevens cricket commentator Simon Kadich.
Well, Cat 3 for 187. A fair reflection from the Aussies after losing the toss and being sent in?
Yeah, I think so. I think the fact that all the batsmen got starts and weren't able to cash in and get a bigger score means that the wicket was quite tough work. And I think Pakistan deserve a lot of credit today. They bowled well. They got good pressure with the swing both ways. And I think they'd certainly had a crack when they had the breaks, like just before the break with the wicket of Warner, just after lunch getting the wicket of Khawaja. So I think they used the breaks to their advantage, and obviously with a disjointed day's play with the weather, that's something that sort of played into their hands.
Australia looked a little defensive. It was hard going through that middle session. Were they too on the back foot, or did Pakistan bowl well?
No, I just think Australia probably know that they want to set this game up in the first innings, and I think they know that if they can get 350 plus in this first innings after being sent into bat by Shah Massoud, that'll give them a great chance of being able to knock Pakistan over and go 2-0 up.
Mana set, Australia's danger man Travis Head at the crease. Where does this game go tomorrow?
Well, I think with extended hours tomorrow, it could move pretty quickly because Travis Head has shown that he wants to take the game forward. Then Mitch Marsh has been in good form. So I think from that perspective, Australia will just need to win that first half an hour tomorrow. And if those two can get going at some stage tomorrow, I think Australia will be set for a big score.
Great to chat with you, Kat. Always appreciate you stopping up for the broadcast. We'll see you tomorrow.
My pleasure.
The Melbourne Stars are in a good position to avoid an 8th straight loss. Pakistan import Osama Mir was wreaking havoc at the SCG against the Sixers with 3 key dismissals.
Got a game on, and that is out. Mir deceives Enriquez, and he has a second wicket. And the Stars are making a statement early.
He then caught Jordan Silk off guard to leave Sydney 4 for 45. Glenn Maxwell on target to dismiss James Vince for 83. The Stars set 155 runs for victory to keep their season alive. Hearts were in mouths in the NBA as LeBron James crashed to the floor in pain after a collision with Boston's Jaylen Brown in a record 18th appearance on Christmas Day. The King bounced back to his feet just minutes later.
On the outlet, James in pursuit, blocked by James, but a foul. James wants a challenge.
He was successful in that challenge, but the Celtics came away with an 11-point victory. Elsewhere, Miami held on to beat Philadelphia by 6 points. While at just 24 years of age, Luka Doncic became the youngest player since Michael Jordan to reach 10,000 NBA points. He finished with 50 in the Mavericks win over Phoenix. There was plenty of Christmas cheer for the Chiefs and Travis Kelce from pop star and girlfriend Taylor Swift.
He's saucier than Santa. Yeah.
T-Swift is fired up.
He said, look what you made me do down here.
Oh, nice.
It didn't help, though, as Kansas suffered a shock loss to Las Vegas. Baltimore upset San Francisco in a potential Super Bowl preview, but it was all about the halftime show for the annual K-Niners Christmas sweater corgi race.
Corgi, look at these two going at each other. Get Perry in on this. That was a cutoff. Illegal contact.
Tony, the corgi, was crowned champion for the second year running. And rain today means an early start tomorrow, Boxing Day, at 10 o'clock first ball. The coverage live and free here on 7 from 9:30.
Hopefully the weather will cooperate, and Mel's here to tell us when this wild weather will clear, Mel.
Well, Mike, we have one more stormy day tomorrow before it starts to improve. I'll have all of those details right after the break. Hello again. We've had our second day of wild weather, but it will improve after tomorrow. The city started on 17 degrees before a top of 24. Outside now sitting on 21. There is currently a severe thunderstorm warning for the east of the state. Heavy rainfall, damaging winds and large hailstones is expected in that area. And those showers and thunderstorms continue tomorrow across our central and eastern parts of Victoria. They will clear off to the east later in the day. The north and the west are a little nicer, partly cloudy there. Closer in, cloudy with a high chance of showers and the chance of a thunderstorm. Temperatures will mostly be in the low to mid-20s and we'll have some southerly winds moving through. A shower or two in the city tomorrow, heading for a top of 23 degrees, and it is cloudy on Thursday with just the slight chance of a shower, top of 21. All dry by Friday, that's what we want to hear. 22 and partly cloudy. Cloudy and 19 on Saturday. New Year's Eve on Sunday, partly cloudy, 21 degrees, not too bad. New Year's Day looking beautiful, mostly sunny, heading for a top of 25. And Tuesday's 25 as well, but with a shower or two moving in. And we have a shower or two in the city tomorrow. We are heading for a top of 23 degrees, Mike.
OK, thanks, Mel. And that's 7 News for this Boxing Day. Thanks for joining us. For now, from the team, have a great night.
Stream 7 News anytime, live and on demand on 7plus. And with 7news.com.au, you'll know the news now.